Hello folks, back once again. Hopefully this stream will last the complete time that I'm live streaming tonight. About a week ago I tried this and it's died on me. My modem was having issues, my router was having issues, and we got all that fixed and I'm getting some pretty good speeds tonight, so hopefully everything is going okay and as planned. So let me check real quick to make sure the audio is doing well. Hello folks. All right, so if you want to watch part one, I will leave a link to this just in case I decide to take it down. I don't know if I will or not, since I've already went ahead and changed the thumbnails. But part one dealt with, some of the issues and the problems that I had getting the Line 6 Helix Native to respond in my DAW. So if you have any issues with that, check out part one. Using the tuner, we kind of went over that. Part one, we started but demonstrating this new preset that you just heard, this nice ambient reverby sound. I didn't really get to dive deep into what it consisted of, but it sounded like this as you heard before. Very, very beautiful, very ambient. I will be going over that sound tonight, that preset, and here in part two we'll kind of discuss if this is a right purchase for you. I did say in part one that I've got some other videos planned for this Helix Native thing, so I don't want to go over into that territory of those videos that I wanted to do. But we'll discuss a little bit of that, and we'll break down this. I'll go ahead and break down this preset. And leave me a comment below if you'd like for me to include this as a list of the presets at ericbeatty.com/HelixLT presets. I think that's what it is. It may change later, but it'll still redirect to the right place. Okay, so check that out if you're interested in some of the presets that I make here on the channel. I've actually been hired to help somebody do some presets on their Helix. I've done this before once, and he's asking me to do it again, so I'm really excited about that. If you'd like to hire me to maybe coach you on some of these Helix things, you can find that information. It's not available as a gig, but you can send me a message and we can kind of work it out. If it becomes something that's pretty popular, I may go ahead and list it as a gig. But if you go to ericbeatty.com/soundbetter, all one word, soundbetter, you'll be able to see what I do there. And I also do guitar solos and things of that nature. I've got all kinds of gear that I can use for that, and I've soloed on several people's tracks before, so that will be available. So just let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see this as a preset. If you'd like to see it, then I'll be glad to upload that as a preset on that one website that I was telling you about. Let me get my stool here available. Also, if you're interested in purchasing an official guitar avatar shirt here, I do have those available as well. If they're not showing up here on YouTube, then you can go to ericbeatty.com/swag, SWAG, and check those out. But for now, let's go to my screen, and I will share with you what's going on. Looks like we have stream, hopefully is excellent. Excellent connection. Okay, good deal. How's the audio? Is it still coming through nice? I do have those available as well. Yes, it is. Okay. Let me check to see where I want my screen to be here. Stream is healthy. I'll just set it to my merchandise page or whatever. I will be monitoring chat as we go along, but for right now there's nothing happening there, so let me just go ahead and go to Helix and then share my screen with you. Go ahead and do that in view. Okay, good deal. It is showing me in the low corner here. Let me just real quick hide where I'm at here, because I want to show you here. You can see where the Helix Native is actually plugged in. It's right here. And let's see, what I could do is just go ahead and move it up. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's move that up here. That's right here, so you should still be able to see me just fine. Okay, good. Let's do that. Okay, so Helix Native is right there. Keep an eye on that. This is, the input is mic 1. I've got it coming in from my audio input, my audio interface, the Evo 4. And as you can see, there's a level there happening. Okay, so the levels for that, it's about -7, something like that. And I also have the actual interface. It's not any red, so we're good over there. Okay, so let's get back to Helix Native. I will pop that up. It just acts as a plug-in. That's all it is. So anytime you want to use it, you'll have to have a DAW to be able to put it in. So I'm using Traction Waveform. I've talked about that several times. And you can get more information about that at erickbeatty.com/traction, TRACKTION. It's an amazing DAW that I use constantly, along with another one called Reaper. But this is the one I'm using it in now because it just gives me more of a creative vibe when I use this. So for now, let's go ahead and look at this preset. Hopefully you can see everything very well. I wish there was a way to zoom in on some of these characters because this is very small. They need to be able to have a way to expand your zoom level of these letters here because it's kind of hard to see. But this is called Ambient, okay? And what I've done here is I've actually taken a preset, one of the factory presets. Every now and then I play my presets enough to where I'll be going back and I'm like, okay, let's have some ideas. Let's find out some more creative ideas and aspects of this. And so I went and found a preset on the user, or the factory presets, tweaked it a little bit and came up with this. And I'm calling it Ambient, okay? I don't have any snapshots available on this. I haven't done anything else with it because this is the sound that I want. So I don't think I've made any snapshots whatsoever. So here's what it sounds like. Very nice, compressed sounding. Results may vary, obviously, because I'm using an Ibanez zebra wood model. They don't make anymore, I don't think. You can probably find them used, no problem. This is an Ibanez RG EW521M ZW, and I'm using the Aaron Orton and Tone Zone from DiMarzio. That's what came stock in this guitar. And so your results may vary based on what pickups you have, configurations and things like that. You can tell it does have a very nice thinny sound. You definitely hear that compressor bumping in there. You've got a Rochester comp. If I turn that off, I have a little too much reduction in that, so I'll put the threshold, or down the threshold, I guess, a little bit. This would be up. Do that. That don't help. So one thing I don't like about this is that if you undo, at least here, there's an undo button here, obviously. So I can undo it on Helix Native, but if I use my undo shortcut, like I had just then, it undoes whatever's in the DAW. So be aware of that. You want to undo using these little buttons up here, right there. So that was too low, and that's reducing quite a bit. So let's bump that up just a hair, maybe 23. How much gain I get back? So I'm going to add a little bit more gain to this. Let's go about 3.5. Let's pull this up to about 21. Okay. Now, the gain doesn't look like it's getting up too much. So I'm went 3.5. I'm going to turn this up all the way. Okay, it does kind of bring it up, but what if I happen to turn the level of the compressor up? That overdrives the amp, so we want that, so we want volume. So I'm going to put this on about +5. Save that. I wonder if I can save to disk here. Let's just make a note of that. I put that at +5. If I go to a different preset and come back and look at the compressor, we have the gain as +2. Okay, so that did not save. So all I have to do is come up here all the time and save to disk or save to library, because the command S is not working. It only is working with the DAW control. So that's kind of a pain. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up to 5. Put that at about, I think I said 21. Let's just go down to 20. Very fast release, very medium attack. Let's see if I bring that attack back a little bit. Okay, we'll take the medium attack. Go here, save to library, where it already is. Click OK, yes, and it is now saved. Okay, so we have our nice input. I can bump up the input if I need to. I can bump up the output if I need to. But like I said, I get a pretty good signal. And overall, if I go back to here, it's actually picking out pretty well. You might be able to see it, might not, I don't know. Yeah, I think you can. It's picking out well. Evo 4 is what I'm looking for. It's doing pretty good. In fact, I can probably turn that down just a little bit more. Let's do about 4. Okay, so if I go back here, nothing's happening in the chat, I don't think. Doesn't look like. Okay, so there we go. Now let's take a look at what we've got in these settings here. The Arch Ambient preset's what I've got. Once again, if you want a copy of this, let me know in the comments. I'll be glad to put it in the settings there. So we've got a wah engaged. Now I don't have a wah hooked up right now, but I wanted to have like kind of an airy sound to this that I could manipulate the frequencies. And it does sound very well with a wah. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to hook up my MIDI commander to this as well, as well as hooking the wah into the MIDI commander. I did a review on that, not a review, but a demonstration on how to do it with 11 rack, the Metal Audio MIDI commander. So I'm gonna have to do one now with how to hook it up to the Helix. But the wah does sound very nice with that. I've got a volume as well that I can do some swells for some ambient sounds. Just look at the compressor. It's got the Rochester comp. I just kind of went with that. The amp that I'm using is the Archetype Clean. Okay. Nothing really major here. I think this is pretty much stock to what the clean channel was, or the clean preset was that I used before. Everything's kind of default here in the amp section besides the bias. The bias is kind of cranked, I guess, to give it a little bit more warmth. Got quite a bit of depth here happening. Oops. Just undo that. And let's see, I think, okay, bright is on, so we have a bright switch. Very low drive. Sounds pretty clean to me. Not much bass. Got some mids up there, some presence and some treble. Master is a little bit high. Again, to get a little bit more compression out of the amp. The cabs we're going into are 4x12 black back 30. Okay, you can see it's an 87 condenser. Distance is 3 inches apart. I don't want it to be right on the cab because it'll have a lot of a woof sound. I've got a little bit of low cut, quite a bit of high cut on this. Matter of fact, I may want the high cut to be a little higher there. Let's put it about 12. And then this one is reflections are at 0 here because I've got some reverb already happening. For this one, we've got a 57 dynamic, and it is 4x12 1960 T75. Let's pull the high cut up on that one as well to 12, because we'll actually be able to hear both of them a little bit better. Doesn't look like it's doing a whole lot, but I like to know that it's there. Just in case, let's put it down to 10 on both these. Just kind of split the difference a little bit. And same thing with this one. That's about where it was, 10 kilohertz. So once again, a 4x12 blackback 30 and a 4x12 1960 T75. Okay, I don't know for sure what these are based on. There's ways to find out on the internet. But, I like the theater sound, so I'm going to switch to my, I think it's the 2 inner coils for this guitar. Now we have a chorus, a Trinity chorus. Here's what it sounds like with that. With. Once again, these are pretty much just stock, what the amp came with. What I switched on this, what I changed, let me go ahead and say this since I've made those cab changes. I changed what's coming next, which is I think the delay and the reverb. So once again, here's these stock settings that pretty much came with this. Left boost, center boost, right boost. I don't know what that does. Let's see what that does. I like that. Left center. But I like that. Let's make it more stereo. Turn the center boost off. That actually changed the. I do like that. Another thing you could do is you could make this a snapshot so that the boosts are not on. And make a snapshot where they are on. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just go, let's change this snapshot name to bass tone. That's our bass tone. Let's make snapshot 2 and we'll call it stereo chorus. Chorus. Okay. And then we could do another where we boost the center and leave the other 2 sides off. That's stereo boost there, and then we have mono. For stereo. Oh, that reminds me, I do have some snapshots now that I think about this. Let me change that. The second one is, I'm actually changing, let's call this, I forgot about it because I hadn't renamed them on the Helix. I actually created this tone on the Helix and didn't really change the name. So this one will be called Extreme Verb, I think. Or is it, it's something else it may be changing. Is it the Verb? Yeah. We'll call this hazard verb because that's what I'm changing here. Is I'm changing this verb to a hazard, and I'll talk about this verb here in a minute. HZRD, hazard verb. Anything on 3 happening? Critical verb. Critical verb. Okay. And then 4, we go back to stable, and I will change the extreme chorus or the stereo chorus on here. All right. So now we have 4 snapshots. And let's get back to what I was talking about. Here's the chorus. Go back to delay here. We have the Adriatic delay. Once again, I kind of left this what it was. Very pretty. If I turn the verb off, here's what you get with just the delay. It's kind of like it collapses on itself as the delay goes out. It kind of like suction. It's like an implosion of delay. And I'm not sure if that would be controlled by the BBD size. If I change this to 1024, oh yeah, that changes it. And then this one. So the less the number, the more implosion-y sounding it sounds, with almost nothing here. It's washed out delay completely. That sounds fine to me. And now the real big magic in this is the verb. The verb they had with this, I don't remember if it was a dynamic hall. I don't even know if it was dynamic at all, because when 3.15 firmware came out for the Helix, they had just introduced dynamic plate, dynamic hall, dynamic, some of these other dynamic things that wasn't available. So I doubt they went back and changed a lot of the presets that were there before into these new things. So it's a legacy verb, and I was experimenting with different reverbs, and I came across this, and man, did it blow me away. Once I played it, I couldn't stop playing it. I just take the delay off. It's got this nice ambient lift sounds. It's almost a pre-delay, and then it catches up. It's kind of like that. So you have stable, you have critical, which sounds like this. Kind of like it's taking off like a spaceship. Then you have hazard, which gives you kind of the glitchy sounds that you hear in a glitch delay, I think is what it's called, in a shimmer reverb, maybe. Almost these reverse pitched things. It can be pretty, it can be beautiful. So we'll go back to Sable, turn the delay back on, and that's our bass tone. Once again, the hazard verb was that one I just did. And as I went up here, you'll notice I turned the dwell down. I'm not exactly sure what the dwell does. I just suggest messing with it. I think it might be the amount of that and how long the reverb dwells. So if there's hazard and I've got it down to 20%, then I take it up to 80%. It lasts longer, and there's more variations on the reverb particles. So I brought the dwell down a little bit so that it wasn't going on forever. Compared to the particle verb, the first dwell was about 42%, and in the critical, I stayed at 42%. takes off at the end. You got the mix that you can adjust here, the level. The trails I've left off because who knows what happens if I leave them on. The bass tone, I would probably leave this on because I want it to bleed into the next thing rather than just killing the reverb altogether. So if I left that off, okay, those are off, the trails are off. So if I turn those on, let's see what happens here now. There is something cool that happens when you turn the hazard on. I don't know about the critical though. Yes, you go to critical. Anytime you engage that effect and you switch over to something else, you get a really quick, those little high pitch particles hopping around. You might have heard that. I'll demonstrate that again. Hear that? That's a cool effect. What I've done is, you can't see it on the Helix or anything, but what I've done is I've assigned this condition to a foot switch on my Helix, and that way I can switch it on and off to whatever I want. You can switch it from stable to hazard, stable to critical, swap back and forth between all of those if you want to. But I've got a preset that's just the hazard itself, and then one that's just the critical. And I almost would want to change these snapshots actually, but I don't know if I can do that here on, tell you what, let's copy this and change it here. We'll paste it. And that was at, I want to say 20%. And if I go back here, we'll change this to hazard and bring this back down to 20%. And now it's where I want it. I want the critical second, and I need to rename that. So we'll call it hazard verb. Hazard verb. And now we have critical. The bass tone is stable. Critical is the next level up. Hazard is the third level up with the dwell percentage down. It looks like all these are at 50%, and I think I made the level a little bit louder. I don't know if it comes like that stock or whatever. And then also now we have the stereo chorus with the stable, where the chorus, the sides are being pushed. And now something else is happening because that does not sound right. So what is happening here? Stable 42% mix. That sounds like this is a little washier than what it's supposed to be. Let's see if there's anything else happening here. Nothing. There's a snapshot. Oh, the wah. The wah setting. So I'm going to turn this off. Stereo chorus now. We could probably increase the depth. Oh, notice we already see the depth here increasing. Okay, so this is why they were louder. Whenever I pushed those, they were louder on the sides, which is fine. That's not what I want. With those off, you can't tell that the left and the right is hugely affected. Now, I want to give me another snapshot here. Actually, the reason the wah pedal was on is because when you, I don't know if you noticed or not, but with Helix Native, a lot of these, if you go to a new snapshot, everything automatically turns on. And so you have to decide what you want and enabled and disabled. So that's a little tip for you there. So let's mess around with just the stereo chorus one. I really like it. Once again, at any time I can press the little button that I've assigned to change the type of verb that I have. messing around with some arpeggio notes there. We got a 7, major 7 to the 1, 3, 5. Very nice here, folks. Don't you just love this kind of stuff? Something else I noticed here with Helix Native, another great point is, let's say you've got some settings the way you like them, and you decide, well, I want to change them, but I don't want to save the settings. I don't want to mess anything up and override it. They've got an A-B switcher here, so you can switch to the B, change something, go back to the A, change the, oh, wait, that's not what I thought it was. Okay. That's if you want to gig and change to the previous preset. For example, let me go ahead and save what I've got going on here. Let's go to this, and then I go to B. It takes me back to where I was. Go to A, B. So you can kind of switch presets on the fly here. And then this button, I'm guessing, changes the preset. I don't know, it may clear it out. I'm not sure exactly what it's doing there. I thought it was a way to switch. I clicked that, I mean, it saves this preset, I think, to A now. So now I'm back on A. So that's a pretty cool little tool there. Like I said, we've got your undo buttons here, you got your tuner buttons, you have per snapshot, host sync, per preset. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I haven't had time to read the manual or the quick guide or whatever you want to call it. But very, very interesting stuff you got here. And the cool thing, too, about the native is you don't have to worry about a lot of different routing options because you basically have just two. And that is where you're switching from the host to 2A or 2B or 2A and B. You don't have to worry about going to USB outputs or quarter-inch outputs and all that mess. All that's taken care of within your computer, okay? So that's a really, really cool thing. Let's see how they've got this set here. They've got a split balance between A and B. Everything is balanced. That means these two cabinets are on one channel, I think. They're not stereo. Yeah, everything is kind of set to the center here. If I wanted to, I could come in here and switch A and B. A being left and the B being right. And everything between there, I guess, would be changed. These right here would be pan left, and then everything in the actual loop here will be pan right. So I could do that. Let's see what happens if I do that. I don't know if it did anything there. What if I go to the end? A pan left, B pan right. This is A, this is B. If it did anything, then it just lowered the levels. So I'm just going to leave this centered. I didn't have any problem with that before. Not going to have any problem with that now. And then I go back here, and then the mixer is just got a merge path, and then you got a split path. Nothing fancy there. Let's check. This is a good time to check the chat. See if anything's going on in the chat right now. So let me do that real quick. I don't see anything in the chat, so that's all right. I didn't really announce this because I didn't want to have it hiccup on me like it did last time over all my social channels. So what I've done is I've just made it available and known to my YouTube people. And then after that, I'll upload it to Twitch and then announce it later on. I didn't want to have to deal with that. So if nobody asks any questions, that's fine. How's the volume doing? This is a good time to check the chat. Man, that sounds awesome. So, all right. So let's continue talking then about Helix Native. Let's go ahead and switch my screen back here. Once again, I will make this available. I can make this available for everybody. Let's just go ahead and put this on bass tone, save it as not pitch experiment. Notice that it just went back to this. You really want to be careful here. Change it to Arch Ambient. I think that has something to do with that A-B switcher thing here. That's something you really got to pay attention to. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. And then I'm going to go to, blah, blah, blah. See, there's a little line here. You see this line right here? Come on, mouse. Right there beside O2B. This has something to do with this, I do believe. Because right now I'm on Arch Ambient. So let me go to Arch Ambient. Yeah, so the line changed. So it almost looked like it was still there. So if I go back to B, it thinks it's Arch Ambient stereo chorus. No, hold on a second. See, now I'm really confused. I don't know exactly what's going on here. Okay, so now switching between my two previous presets. Don't know what's happening there for sure, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and export this because I'm sure that people will want to have a copy of this. I don't think I'm going to do any more changes. If I do, then I will fix that. Let me go to my Helix patches here. Let's see. I go to my signature ones here. I'm going to call this EB Arch Ambient. Save. And let's see here. It already exists. Do you want to replace it? Yes, I think I exported it earlier. Okay, so looking at this now, why would you, let's do a little bit of a discussion here. Why would you want to use Helix Native in your instance? Okay, so the good thing, one of the great things about it, and I'm not going to go over all these aspects because like I said, I'm going to try to do it in the video with these features. But I'll just go with, let's just say maybe two off the top of my head, okay? And these are some big ones. First of all, you can not, usually with the Helix and the HX Stomp, and the Helix LTE and Podgo and all that stuff, you're limited to the fact that you're using these tones on your guitar or whatever instrument you plug in. It could be a bass, could be a guitar, electric or acoustic guitar, but that's the instruments that you're kind of limited to. It is a guitar multi-effects and multi-amp modeler processor type thing. But with Helix Native, you can anything. You can put these effects on your vocals, have a nice compressed vocal, have some nice reverb for your vocals. You can put these effects on keyboards. You can put these effects on different sounds, samples, drums, loops, you know, anything you think of. You can put this particular reverb effect on a snare drum in your drum kit. So this is just like any other plugin in the fact that you can put this in a different signal chain and use all these effects. And for right now, if you look here on my DAW, Helix Native is using 100% of my CPU, but it's not lagging. So I'm not sure exactly what this is talking about here. It's not really slowing anything down. I have tried recording this with Helix on, but I don't think it'll cause any issues, to be honest with you. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and record something just to prove that point. Let's go back here. I've got record enabled happening here, and we will just go ahead and start recording something here. And we'll see if it lags or anything. Still going. Now, let's go ahead and fade that out. About this long. I'm going to zoom in on that track. Now, the good thing is, too, about Helix Native is this is a dry track. This is not printing anything to this recording. So the dry track, basically, I can tell this to disable using this button up here or the shortcut that I've allowed this to disable with in my DAW, which is F. It changes up here, too. And I can go back here and start playing this. And I've don't know if you could hear that. Let me... Okay, so you might be able to hear that. I'm not exactly sure. But if I put Helix Native back on... Now, something weird there. You can still hear it at the end. That may have something to do with this reverb. So let's see if it does. Oh, don't crash on me. Okay, there we go. Let's go back here. Yeah, I'm thinking it has something to do with the reverb. So I could automate this at the end to turn the reverb level down if I needed to. I didn't like that little buzz there, so right there. So let's just go ahead and scoot that back. And then change this to a slow fade. And that's good because the reverb usually is supposed to last past the audio anyway. And that's why you always want to export probably like 2 or 3 bars past the ending of the song so that the reverb has time to clear out the reverb and delay any ambient effects like that whatsoever. So now, if I save that, we have a perfectly good, usable guitar sound that I can change to something else if I want to. Let's just go ahead and change it to my signature SLO tone. And it may be loud, so let's just be warned. Isn't that awesome? Back to the Arch Ambient, back to anything else we can think of. That's awesome, okay? I can change that on the fly. I can change parameters here. I can automate any of these parameters that is in Helix Native. I can have it change in the middle of that to that critical reverb stage so that we have a little bit more ambient sounds, or that hazard reverb stage in the particle reverb. So we have all these little particles that are high pitches drifting around if I wanted to. So that's the really cool thing, is that you can attach this to any audio, not just your guitar. Okay, I could put this on anything within my DAW. The other cool feature that I would suggest, and I just learned this the other day while looking at some of this stuff, while looking up some tutorials on Helix Native myself, is that you can go to the settings here, and you can tell it to change the compatibility of the hardware. The current hardware compatibility mode is Helix Floor, Helix LT, or Helix Rack. That's the default. But you can switch this to Helix HXFX, HX Stomp, HX Stomp XL. It does not currently have Pod Go on here because it's a different system. There are certain things within the chain that are basically frozen there. You can only have so many blocks, and some of those blocks have to be EQ, have to be volume, have to be wah, have to be an amp. So you can't rearrange things around. So unless you have a Pod Go, there's really no way to create that I'm aware of. I mean, you probably could in Helix Native, but even if you don't decide to do that, the good thing about this is, there's 2 good things actually. If you're on hardware compatibility, and once again you click settings, you can change this to HSFX. Now, if I do this, it may erase some things, and it will ask if you want to for sure do that. The cool thing about that is, what you could do is create a duplicate of this. Let's just say a duplicate of this effect, or this preset. I'll just call this, once again, I could go in here and change user 3 presets to be HX Stomp, HX Stomp XL, What was the other one? HX effects. I could change those. I could change that and use my user 3 base just for that. And I can now create presets for those devices. I'm not now stuck on just Helix devices because whatever I create will be compatible with that other thing. For example, let's just go to a new preset and I will show this and demonstrate this for you. For one thing, Helix LT, Helix Floor, and Helix Rack both have two separate DSP CPU processors, right? DSP processors. So if I go over here and I change this to HX Stomp, notice what happens. Bam, I now only have one. That's the beauty of Helix Native, is that I can now create presets for the other devices, which means more sales, which means more customizability, more compatibility for me, so that I'm serving more customers, right? So now I don't have to worry about that. I can just create a tone that I like. And for my example, back to, where's it at? Where am I at? Set list I'm on. Trying to find where it disappeared to. Let me go back and make this compatible with. Okay. Am I where I thought it was? No. Back to factory preset. So for some reason that made this disappear, because apparently maybe the DSP is limited and you only have one preset area in an HX Stomp. I'm not sure how that works. I know we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total set lists in here, and the set lists are, I think, 128 different presets each. So it's like over 1,000 different presets that you can save. It may not be that way with HX Stomp. That may be what happened there. So if I go back to HX Stomp, let's check that out real quick. What has happened now is it looks like this may have actually changed these to HX Stomp presets. I'm not sure I've ever seen these. Bass, SVT, 4CM, DIR, Direct, I guess. FX Solitude. Oh, dude. I just found a completely new preset for Native. FX. Let's go back and change this to HX effects. So we've got pretty much the same thing. Yeah, loading set list. See that down there? It was loading set list. So now we have, oh my goodness, this is completely new. I had never noticed this before. I have discovered something I didn't know about, and that is we have complete new presets with Native that I did not know what we had. Now, one thing that's happening is I'm noticing there's no amp sounds, and that's because there's no amp tones in HX effects. I don't think any of these have amp tones. So when I went to HX effects, there's no amp tones. So that's why that didn't work. HX Stomp XL, I think we'll go back to what we had with HX Stomp. It's a loading set list. Yes, we have this kind of same thing here. Now we have available some amps. That sounds probably. This is just effects. So I could save this, and maybe, I don't know exactly how I would do this. I would look this up to see if I could save this, go back to the hardware compatibility of the Helix LT, or the Helix Rack, and the Helix Floor, and then paste that in there. The other thing that you could do is if there's some effects that you really like rather than the whole chain, you could select those effects and add those to your favorites. Okay, and that's by adding this star right here. You could add those to your favorites and have those available later. All right, so direct, we have Cali Rectifier. So we have some different amp sounds. Okay, and then we have some other settings here, 4cm, 4 cable method, bass tones, looks like we have some key tones maybe, acoustic tones, what? This is a parametric, it's not the actual acoustic simulator, so we have a preamp here, studio songwriter, the new presets. Okay, let's go back to Helix Floor and Rack. Oh, the other thing you can do is set this to off. And what that does is you are only limited by the DSP on your computer now, by the CPU, I guess you would call it. So I can, and I've seen this demonstrated before, as when you have all these different pitch effects, they take a lot of DSP, up to 50%, maybe more DSP on your Helix because of the DSP limitations. So, but you can add like pitch effect, pitch effect, pitch effect, pitch effect, pitch effect, all these different pitch effects and all these different high DSP modules and effects, and not have any problems whatsoever of your computer. So they're not really translatable to the, you can't really save them to the Helix LT because that's not compatible, because the DSP is off, the compatibility is off. But it's good if you're recording something and you need all that extra power. Okay, so now we are back to factory. Now if I go down here to factory, we do have some bass stuff here. Okay, SFX, sound effects. I don't know what ISS is. Factory 2 gives me, okay, there's some more bass effects. There's none of these other things like SFX1, SFX2, SFX3. So it would be interesting to see if I could change some of these to be compatible with Now, one thing that just happened here is very interesting. I switched back, and let's see if this would work. If I go back to, let's just say, Placate or Dirty, and if I switch back to HX Effect, or HX Stomp, let's just do that. It eliminates, let me go back here, Placate or Dirty. See if there's anything on the bottom here. There was not. Let's find something that's got a lot of bandwidth here and multiple settings here, which probably would be factory 2. I know some of the artist tones do. See if I can find one of them. There's a big one. Okay, let's go back to Bill and Ted at CERN and switch that to HX Stomp. Now this whole line will probably disappear. This whole path 2A and B. Transition to preset. Fail. Proceed with change and discard the current preset. Yes. Okay, so it discarded the whole thing. So it's either one line or nothing at all. So once again, if I go to one that has just one line, go back here. Let's just go ahead. It's not going to change it. So if I go to my presets and go back to that Ambient, there's nothing down here, right? There's nothing on path 2. So let's go ahead and switch over to HX effects, or stomp actually. Preset field. I don't know why. Okay. So what we'd have to do then is, I don't know if we'd have to build that from scratch or what. There might be some tutorials online about doing that. That would be cool if we could. There's a lot of, I see a lot of a potential for this, is what I'm trying to say. That way, like I said, I could cater to more customers that have other units and effects units. But this is cool. I never knew this. We have all these extra presets depending on what set list you have going on in the hardware compatibility list. So I'm going to go back to the Helix floor and go back to my presets, Arch Ambient, and it is saved there once again. So those are two really cool presets and really cool, well, two good ideas on how to use Helix Native. I'm getting tired. There's two cool effects there or cool reasons to use Helix Native and why you might want to pick it up. I wanted to pick it up, as I said in part 1. I wanted to buy this because, number one, I'm already a Helix user. So I have a discount, a massive discount. That's another good reason, is because now instead of $3.99, Helix Native only cost me $99. Okay? So that's one reason. The other reason, the main reason I want to pick this up, because I was getting frustrated of leaving my Helix LT down here in the basement studio, where sometimes I just don't feel like coming down to the basement. Sometimes it feels just like a drudge to come down here and do things. And I would rather be upstairs and practice upstairs. Well, now my Helix is up there, upstairs. My Helix LT is upstairs. I can pull it out and practice it whenever I want to, and also get familiar with it. I wanted to get more hands-on with the unit and learn all the knobs and learn all the settings for when I play live. It would be an easy fix in anything I come across, any kind of troubleshooting areas I come across. So I wanted to be able to do that and get more familiar with it. And now I can come down here and still have my awesome Helix tones here and switch those back and forth if I need to. I use Dropbox between laptops or between computers to do that, and then I can just hook my Helix LT up to my laptop and then transfer any presets that I've updated or anything like that. So those are some good reasons why you might want to consider using Helix Native. I've had fun tonight. Please do check out part 1 if you haven't seen that, and if you have seen that, take a look at ericbeatty.com/TCG. I now have available the Creative Guitarist in 3 different pricing tiers, 3 different product packages that you can choose. Okay, and these are for the first time on a lot of these things. Okay, for the first time I've created an ebook course, a course that has its own ebook. So in other words, all the course materials are not in the videos themselves. That's supplementary. Okay, so the course materials, the videos, all the bonuses and things like that are supplemented to the actual course, which is contained within the ebook. If you need more help, you might want to opt in for the full course. The other thing I've done a first time, okay, is I'm offering a 1-hour consultation to anyone who purchases at that pricing tier. It's the highest pricing tier, obviously, because you'll be consulting with me one-on-one personally for an hour, okay? And I don't know if we'll do any other lessons past that for sure, because I'd like to make my time available to other people that want to do that and who have bought the course at that level. But that's the first time I've offered any kind of consulting whatsoever, okay? The Facebook group, the private Facebook community group, that's the first time I've ever offered a private group for any of my courses. So there's a lot of good first things happening with the Creative Guitarist. Once again, that website is ericbeatty.com/TCG. I've completely redone the way the website looks, the way that web page looks, so that it becomes more easy to navigate, more easy to see what's included in the course, and just looks a lot more professional than what it was directing to. Okay, so I've had a great time tonight, guys. I'm going to get off here and see if there's any other live stream I may want to do, any other videos I may want to do. And it's been a great time. I'm glad I've had no problems with this stream whatsoever, as far as I know. Let me check that real quick. Excellent condition the whole time, so that's very good. It's the way that web page, and I'm glad everything has turned out. There's not been a lot of people chatting, but that's okay. I will post this later on Twitch and some social media posts as well. It's been just over an hour, according to this. But I'm getting drowsy, so I'm starting to ramble. So I don't want to do that and waste your guys' time. Once again, check those links out. Thank you so much. Click the like button if you've liked this video. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to be notified of all these live streams. They are most of the time impromptu, so I don't do a lot of announcements beforehand. It's just not something I do. I just usually do this when I feel like doing a live stream, which is, I should probably be doing more of these, but that's just the way it is right now. And if you want to get in on it, then you definitely need to subscribe to the bell so you'll be notified. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. That's going to be it for me tonight. I appreciate all you guys do. I appreciate you checking out the stream and being patient with me with all these technical difficulties. All right. We'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that may be. Until next time, keep creating, and God bless.